Long ago, in a small fishing village along the Atlantic coast, where towering cliffs stretched out like giant hands embracing the raging sea, and salty winds blew year-round, carrying the sharp scent of fish and the quiet sorrow of wives waiting for their husbands, there lived a young woman named Isolde. Isolde was the most beautiful woman in the village, with golden hair that shimmered like morning sunlight, eyes as blue as the deep sea, and a warm smile that captivated every man who saw her. Yet her heart belonged only to Ronan, a brave fisherman, tall and strong, with a booming laugh and hands hardened by hauling nets day after day. They had loved each other since their youth, ever since Ronan saved Isolde from a powerful current during a small storm. "I will always stay by your side," Ronan promised when they married in the village church, beneath flickering candlelight and echoing bells. Isolde believed him completely, for Ronan was her entire world. He brought home fish to feed the family, told her stories of the sea to lull her to sleep, and swore he would never leave. At first, their life was simply happy. Isolde gave birth to a healthy son named Finn, who had his father's eyes and his mother's smile. They lived in a small wooden house by the cliff, where every morning Isolde watched Ronan sail out to sea with whales guiding his boat. "I'll wait for you," she always said, kissing him before he left. Ronan laughed. "I'll come back with a full hold of fish and new stories." But the sea was merciless, and a fateful day arrived. Ronan joined the largest deep-sea fishing expedition of the year, a fleet sailing north, where sharks and storms were constant threats. "This trip will earn enough to build a big house," Ronan said, ambition shining in his eyes. Isolde begged him, worried. "Don't go, Ronan. We need you safe, not a big house." Ronan brushed her fears aside. "You worry too much. I'm the best captain out there. I'll return." The boats departed amid the villagers' cheers. Isolde stood on the cliff, waving until the ships vanished beyond the horizon. At first, she waited with hope. She cared for her child, cleaned the house, and every afternoon climbed to the highest cliff known as the Waiting Rock to gaze out at the sea. "He'll return," she whispered to the wind. Weeks passed. Then, months. News arrived from other boats that had returned. A massive storm had struck Ronan's fleet. Many ships sank. Many men were lost. The village mourned, holding memorial prayers for husbands and fathers who never came home. But Isolde refused to believe it. "Ronan is strong. He survived," she told everyone. Her eyes red, but her voice firm. Ronan's mother, now frail with age, wept and pleaded, "My child, accept it. The sea has taken your husband." Isolde shook her head. "No, he promised he would return. I will wait." Isolde's blind loyalty slowly became a curse she placed upon herself. She rejected all advice and refused every kind man in the village who offered help or proposed marriage. "I belong only to Ronan," she said coldly. A man named Liam Ronan's childhood friend and now a successful captain had long loved Isolde in silence. He brought fish for her and her son, repaired her house when it leaked, and taught Finn how to pull nets. "Isolde, Ronan isn't coming back," Liam begged, love filling his eyes. "Live on for your son." But Isolde pushed him away. "You betray Ronan. I will wait forever." Liam left in pain, and over time, the villagers began to distance themselves from Isolde because of her stubbornness. "She's gone mad," they whispered. "Loyal to a ghost." Time passed as harshly as waves crashing against stone. Finn grew up without a father. "Where's father?" he asked. Isolde told him stories of Ronan as if he were still alive, lulling her son with hope. "He will come back, my son. We must wait." But Finn changed. He grew to hate the sea and despise waiting. When he became a young man, he left the village with a group of inland merchants. "Mother, waiting only brings suffering," he said, his eyes filled with tears. Isolde clutched him and cried, "You are betraying your father." Finn left and never returned. No letters, no visits. Isolde was now more alone than ever. Only Ronan's mother remained, now bedridden and weak. "My child, let go," the old woman begged. But Isolde cared for her with blind devotion. "I must wait for Ronan so he can see that his family is still whole." The old woman died in sorrow, whispering with her final breath, "Loyalty has destroyed you." Isolde became completely isolated. She no longer worked, surviving only on fish, villagers occasionally, brought out of pity, until even that faded. Every day, she climbed the waiting rock and stood for hours staring at the sea. The salty wind lashed her face. Her hair slowly turned white with age. Her skin grew pale from the cold, and her eyes dimmed from endless tears. Yet her loyalty never wavered. "Ronan will return," she murmured in a hoarse voice. The villagers began telling her story like a dark legend. The mad woman on the rock, waiting for her ghost husband. Children threw stones from afar. Adults avoided her. Isolde did not care. She only waited. The tragedy reached its peak on a night of terrifying storms, just like the night Ronan had sailed away years before. Waves slammed violently against the cliffs. The wind screamed like the sea, devouring hope. Isolde, now old and frail, her hair completely white, climbed the waiting rock in the raging storm. "Ronan, come back! I'm waiting for you!" she screamed into the sea, her voice lost amid thunder. Lightning split the sky, illuminating her face wrinkled with suffering, eyes shining with blind hope. A massive wave crashed toward her, but Isolde did not flee. She stood still, waiting for Ronan to return from the sea. The next morning, the villagers found her on the rock, her body turned entirely to stone, forever frozen in the posture of watching the ocean, hair flowing as if still caught in the wind. There was no blood, no sign of pain, only petrification, as if blind loyalty itself had cursed her into an eternal monument of sorrow. The villagers named the cliff the Statue of Isolde and told her story as a warning. Blind loyalty can turn love into hell, and endless waiting brings only eternal loneliness and a death no one mourns.